Hey, third grade. Okay, I totally dropped the ball. We have a quiz in health. So I just added that on to Google Classroom, and then I'm adding this video in there so that I can review with you. It'll be quiz 5 because we are going to take quiz 6 either tomorrow or the next day. So I want to make sure that we have quiz 5 in so before we get quiz 6 in. But just reviewing some things, and then I will talk you through your quiz. Okay, so we've been talking about safety, and what did we say is the best way to stay safe? What is one of the keys of safety? Right, being aware. When you are aware of things that are going on around you, that is the key to safety. That's when you can know how to react and how to respond. So the key to being safe is being aware. Then we talked about different types of safety. We talked about one of the things was, public safety in parking lots and walking and all of that. But when we did talk about street safety, what do we call a person, us, if they're walking on the street or on a sidewalk? That word, pedestrian. Yes, we are called pedestrians if you're walking along a street or a sidewalk. What side of the street do you walk on? The left. Very good. You walk toward the oncoming traffic. So that way you can see when they're coming towards you. What are some of the actually rules for crossing a street? When do we cross? At an intersection or a crosswalk. And what are some rules, I guess, for crossing? It's not just when do we cross. We should never cross between parked cars. Very good. And then cross only when the light says walk. When it's green, it reads walk. And that's the only time. And then we should also look in all directions, right, before we cross a busy street. So make sure that you are thinking those things through. We talked about riding a bus. Where should you cross if you get off the bus? Where should you cross the street? And if you have to cross the street. In front, you cross in front of the bus so the bus driver can see you. The traffic is going to be stopped because the bus has the little sign that tells them to stop, and they're required by law to stop. So he can watch you walk across safely. So you cross in front of the bus. When is a good time to be home and not be out walking? Remember dusk, right? When the sun just starts to go down and it's dusk, that's a hard time for drivers to see you. And so it's better to be home before dusk. Or if you do have to be out, you should definitely never be out alone with your family, but wear light colored clothing or carry a light with you so that people can see you. That's very important. Then you learned about some traffic signs. And remember, we had our do not walk and walk signs, a stop sign, and we know what a stop sign looks like, the octagon with stop, the school sign. This is the sign that shows that there's a school nearby, so people need to slow down. And then we have our railroad warning sign or crossing sign. That means farther up ahead, there's going to be the white railroad crossing sign. So if you look on page 102 in your books, you have the railroad crossing sign, the stop sign, and then the warning sign. Remember, when it's a diamond, it'll show you inside that sign what they're warning you of. It could be being, slippery roads. It could be deer crossing. You've seen those where it has the sign and then it shows like a deer crossing. That is a warning sign to warn you. This is an area where there's lots of deer that cross, so make sure. And did you catch what I said? Lots of deer, because what's the plural of deer? Deer. Okay, sorry. I know I can just incorporate everything into everything, but you can in so many things. They warn you. I've even seen a turtle crossing sign where, it's a diamond sign warning that this is where turtles normally cross, so please slow down and be careful. You may have seen it with ducks or geese on the sign, but that's a warning sign. I have to share this really quickly because it was just a funny thing. There's a video of a lady talking, and she looked and she said, I just don't understand why they would put this place right here in the middle of the road for deer to cross. Like, why don't they put it out in the woods somewhere? And so she thought that that the deer were looking at the sign and deciding, oh, this is where we're allowed to cross. She wasn't thinking that it was a warning sign for drivers to be careful because deer cross there. You can't tell deer where to go because they're animals and they don't know. So she was just it was a really silly. Sorry, it just makes me laugh every time I think about a warning sign, because she's like, I just don't understand it. There are so many other places where they could have put this sign where deer can be able to cross instead of in the middle of a road, a busy highway like this, and I don't understand it. But she was not understanding a few things. So anyway, so that's your warning sign. And then your school sign, you can see the kids walk into school with their books and you can recognize what those are. Then we talked about recreational safety and how to play safely. So whether you're playing in a park, in a playground or whatever, always, be careful, check the area first. Should not be playing on bleachers or picnic tables. They were not made for rough play. Plus, if they're wooden, you could get splinters and that would not be very fun. When you are playing, you need to be careful not to go barefoot because there could be broken glass or insects, or you could get cuts from things. So you have to be very careful. But what about team sports? When you play team sports, what is one of the things that we said you should do? Wear the protection that you're supposed to. Sometimes we think, oh, no big deal, I'm just going to go and do whatever. No, they have the protection for your shins or for your head or for your elbows or for your knees for a reason, so that you're not getting hurt. So wear that protective gear. Then you never throw rocks, never trip students or push other people, because that's not playing safe. And we should avoid all rough play because it will definitely cause careless accidents. Then we talked about animal safety. Do we just walk up to any animal? Exactly, never. Even if they're with an adult, you ask the adult, is it okay if I pet your animal? Because it may not be. If you see an animal by itself, should you help it or go up to it? Never, because you don't know what could be wrong. And it could be, a vicious animal. You just don't know. So you tell an adult so that an adult can call for somebody to come and take that animal. You shouldn't be trying to help them. Even if you see a baby bird that fell out of its nest and you want to put it back, that usually is not helpful, because the mama bird many times smells the human scent and will not help. There's so many different variables. So you just have to be very, very careful. Let an adult professional handle that. So don't touch those. Then stay away from nests. Don't poke at them, throw things at them so that these, ants or wasps or bees or whatever end up swarming out. That's very, very dangerous. So you want to avoid animals that are not with their owners. Ask if there is an owner. Don't try to help an injured animal. Play away from harmful insect nests. And then wash your hands after you're playing with your pets. And then we talked about the poisonous plants. The 3 most poisonous ones that are irritating to our skin are poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. Say those: poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. And those are the oils get on your skin, and that causes a lot of irritation. So you need to be able to recognize what they look like and stay away from those so that you're not allowing yourself to be hurt. When you are going to ride your bicycle, what do you need to do? You need to make sure that your parents have checked it. So every week you should be checking to make sure that all the parts of your bike are working properly. And then when you are riding your bike, wear protective gear, wear your helmet, wear other protective gear. People have gotten hurt. Just recently, somebody fell off of a bike, didn't have a helmet on, and has a concussion, a slight concussion, where right now they're not able to do anything. They're not allowed to watch TV. They're not allowed to play any games. All they can do is just sit around, maybe talk, and, they're not supposed to be doing anything because all of that is too stimulating for the brain and they have to relax and rest their brain. And so I've been keeping in contact and finding out, and the mom said it's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing because the child is bored because they're not able to finish school right now, but they're not even able to just play games and just have fun. They just have to sit. They can't even go and run around because that's too much of a jarring on the brain again. So it's not safe. Make sure that you are wearing your helmet all the time. Then we learned our hand signals. When there's a left turn, you just put your arm out left. When it's a right turn, you can put your arm up in like a little, upside down L shape. If it's slow down or stop, then you do your, kind of underneath there. You can also do right turn this way, but whatever's easiest for you, holding onto the handlebar, if it's easier to hold on to it with your right hand, then just do all your hand motions this way. Okay. If it's easier for you to take, this hand, your left hand, and then do right, whatever, works, but make sure that you are doing the hand signals so that way people around you know what ways that you are going. And then we talked about water safety. Do not ever go swimming alone. And then if you don't know how to swim, don't go in the deep end. Don't even be on a floating device because that could be very dangerous. And then if somebody is struggling and you see them struggling in the water, not your job to go out to them. Hold something out to them. Throw something that floats out to them so that they can hold on to it. Call for help, okay? That's very, very important. Also, never go in the water when there's an electrical storm nearby because that's very dangerous. So those are the things that I think you're going to be seeing on your quiz. So quiz number 5, you're going to take that out. So let's see. Section 1 is fill in the blank. Choose the correct answer from the box below and write it in the blank. So it gives you some of those things that we've talked about already. Then section 2 is true or false. If the statement is true, write true. If the statement is false, write false. So read those through very carefully to make sure that you're reading it to see if it's true or false. Short answer, list 2 common plants that can irritate the skin. Just talked about 3, so you should remember those. Then choose the correct phrase from the box below and write the name of the sign in the blank. So it gives you each of those different names, which that's really pretty easy. So do well on this quiz. I know you will. And sorry that I didn't get it ready and said beforehand, but I know you'll be fine. And I hope that the review helped. And yeah, do your best. All right. Have a good quiz and I'll talk to you next time.